So, you've been filtering on Excel like this for your entire life. You've gone in, you've selected your columns, you've selected filter, you're then opening this, you're then deselecting select all, you're then selecting Ford, you're selecting Jeep, you're then closing this, and then you're realizing, okay, well, I want to change that. I've got to open this again. I've got to, oh, you know what? I want to see everything again. So I'm going to select all, come out of that. It's a pain. Why are you doing it like this? This is not a great way to use Excel, especially with filtering. And I'm going to show you how to use something we call slicers to make your experience so much better. So let's go over to sheet 2 and see how we get to this. This is a slicer. This button section up here allows me to filter based on this area below. So what I can do is I can just select Jeep and it filters for me. I can select Toyota and it filters for me. Or I can select this multi-select section here and then I can go, okay, I want Jeep and Toyota. Let me get some Tesla in there. It makes it so much easier, right, than having to have a little pop-out box and then, you know, select all, clear, etc. Well, you can also clear and easily get back to everything. Now, what you need to be careful of when using slicers is this multiple select tool here. If you select it straight away with everything selected, because by default everything is selected, it's going to do it in reverse. So when I select one, it's going to remove those items. But then if I do a multiple select again and select one of them, it's going to remove the multiple select. But now if I select it and select the multiple select, it's going to add them the other way. So that was slightly confusing, right? What do I mean by that? Firstly, when you start out with a slicer, everything is selected. If you select multiple select, this is going to allow you to do it in reverse. It's going to allow you to deselect because everything is selected by multiple, so everything is now selected, and now you're removing items one by one. But if we start out with everything selected and the multi-select is off, when you press one, it's then selecting that specific one because you're not doing a multiple select. But what then you can actually do is then hit that multiple select button and then select the next one and the next one and so on until you get the items that you want. But the most important button here is the clear button, and that will set you back to normal. So how do we get to this from our original sheet? This. Well, I'm going to show you how. It's extremely easy and you will never go back to this way of filtering again. So just highlight all of your data. Now I've got 3 columns obviously, and we have some cars in here, we've got some prices, and we've got their brands. They've got column names, so we've got car name, price and brand. So I've selected everything. I'm just going to hit Control T and it's going to ask me to create a table. Now we're going to create a table because this is how the slicer is going to link to it. So all of this is just where your data is. If your table has headers, make sure you've got this ticked. If it doesn't, then make sure you untick it because the top line will become headers, and obviously you don't want to do that. But in this case, I have headers, so I'm going to select that. So I'm going to hit OK. Now I've got my table. And then all you have to do is click Insert Slicer. Now Insert Slicer then is going to say, okay, we're going to insert some buttons based on the data that you've selected. So you have to select a column. So I've got car name, price and brand. Now obviously I want to filter on brand because I want to be able to see what cars are in what particular brand, and then I can see the prices and the model, etc. So I'm going to select brand, click OK, and now I've got a list of all the brands here based on the column of the brands column, and I can just select one. So Ford, for example, and as I mentioned previously, I can hit this multiple select and I can select Jeep. So we've now got Ford and Jeep selected. You can see it's highlighted in blue. But what I can do then is I can clear, and then I can untick this. I can have this like multiple select tick, and then I can select Ford and Jeep, and it's going to select those two particular. But as I mentioned previously, if we don't have this ticked, it's going to just select the individual ones, and then you have to hit it again and then select the multiple. But now if I select this and then I select Ford and Jeep, it's deselecting them. So it's doing it in reverse. So you have the ability to select and deselect items based on multiple selections, however you want to do it. Now it's entirely up to you how you do that, but what I normally do is I clear it, I have the multiple select deselected, and then I select the first one that I want, hit multiple select, and then select the ones that I want to display myself. Okay, so this doesn't look like what we've got here. How do we get to here then? Well, simply put, what we do is we select the slicer, and then in the slicer column, up here, the slicer tab, we select the columns and we say how many columns we want. Now we have 10 different brands, so we could have 2 rows of 5. So if I do 5 columns, I now have a list of 2 rows of brands in 5 columns, and I have 2 full rows, for example. But let's say you had 8, you could do 4 columns, or if you had 9, you could do 5 columns and have 1 blank, for example. It's entirely up to you how you want to visualize it, and then you can just change the sizing of the section, bring it up here, and we'll put it here, and then we'll just increase that size to match our table. And now we have our slicer completed, and it's exactly the same as this. We can then just select Jeep, we can select Toyota, we can clear that, we can do the multiple select, and we can deselect Jeep, we can deselect Toyota, and then just have everything. Or we can do what we said previously, where you have the multiple select deselected at the beginning, you select Jeep, the first one, then you select your multiple select, and then you select the additional items that you want. And this is how you can easily filter a lot of data with simple buttons and make your user experience, as well as experience for anyone else using your Excel documents, so much better. So thank you for joining me on this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I look forward to seeing you on another Excel video in the near future. Bye.